Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. So I decided to do a weekend reading vlog. It is Thursday now, but I have been working from home all week, and so I thought I would just start it on Thursday. So I have a couple of things, like one thing that I need to read by tomorrow night. I need to read the Brianna Hale backlist read-along pick for the month. And then I also have some other books that I got from my library that I want to read. It's a bunch of historical romance. It all came through at the same time. The first book that I want to prioritize is Her Night with the Duke. She has a one-night stand with a guy at an inn. Husband just passed away, and she goes to live with her stepdaughter, who is now getting remarried, and I think the stepdaughter's husband is the dude that she hooked up with in the inn. So that sounds very dramatic. I don't have really anything else going on besides the live tomorrow, so I'm probably just going to be reading all weekend. I don't have a super big reading update for you, but I do have some bookish mail. This is the Fairyloot adult fantasy box. I have never subscribed to Fairyloot before. I've never gotten a box before. I don't really read YA fantasy, but I do read adult fantasy. So when they dropped this, I was like, I could get some special edition adult fantasy, hopefully some things that I haven't heard of before, and have a good time. If you got this box and you haven't gotten yours yet, obviously skip ahead because you will get spoiled. Comes with the, little card, a bunch of squiggly things that I don't love, and this is the the book. Comes in this little pouch thing. I already spoiled this for myself. I already know what this is. I looked it up. I shouldn't have, but it is the Atlas 6, which I have heard fantastic things about. Oh my god, that's so pretty. Those are the beautiful sprayed edges. I love black sprayed edges. That is gorgeous. So it says, knowledge is carnage. This is what the back looks like. Some nice gold foiling. That is the sprayed edges. This is what the underneath looks like the inside pages. And then the naked book looks like this. It says the title with some symbols I assume are part of the story. So this is very nice. I'm a huge fan of the art on the inside. Let's see. There isn't anything on the pages or anything like that. I don't know if these are signed. And it does, yeah. And it is signed. So this is very, very pretty. I love the dust jacket. So I'm very happy with this one. Very pretty. Welcome to the Alexandrian Society. When the world's best magicians are offered an extraordinary opportunity, saying yes is easy. Each could join the secretive Alexandria Society, whose custodians guard lost knowledge from ancient civilizations. The members enjoy a lifetime of power and prestige, yet each decade only 6 practitioners are invited to fill 5 places. Contenders Libby Rhodes and Nico Devornia are inseparable enemies, cosmologists who can control matter with their minds. Parisa is a telepath who sees the mind's deepest secrets. Riina is a naturalist who can perceive and understand the flow of life itself, and Kellum is an empath who can manipulate the desires of others. Finally, there's Tristan Kane, whose powers mystify even himself. Following recruitment by the mysterious Atlas Blakely, they travel to the Society's London headquarters, and here each must study within esoteric subject areas. And if they can prove themselves over the course of a year, they'll survive. That sounds exceptional, so I'm definitely excited to give this a read. But yes, so that is the unboxing. morning, friends. I got about 30-ish% of the way through Her Night with the Duke, and this is about a woman who has a one-night stand with her stepdaughter's betrothed. They're not betrothed yet, but they are both going to this house party thrown by her stepson in honor of like the betrothal that's supposed to happen to the hero, and they end up getting like reined in at this inn. They have a night together, and then, you know, they get there and realize that they are, you know, who they are to each other. And 27% in, and I'm super enjoying it. It's very angsty at this point. They haven't had a whole lot of interactions since they discovered that they are like each other's, you know, whatever, but it's like very fun, very angsty, and I'm really enjoying it. I really enjoy this author's writing. Diana Quincy, I've never read anything by her before, but I will definitely be picking up something else from her. Very interested in Griff. I think if it's not out already, there's definitely going to be a book about him. He's like one of the hero's friends, and he has like a dark, broody backstory to do with his family. So I am very much enjoying this, and I am excited to continue. But for right now, I need to film some videos. I post 2 to 3 times a week. I usually have a vlog on Monday. If I am filming a vlog, I'll have and then 2 sit-down videos on Wednesday and Friday. Those are usually like recommendation videos, and I usually like to have my Wednesday and Friday videos filmed out like 6 months in advance. I'm running out at the end of this month, so the end of April. So I want to get some sit-down videos filmed and edited to go up. Probably not very many, but that's going to be what I'm going to be doing for the majority of the day. So we will talk probably before the live show at 7, but who knows? Hi friends, I apologize for the lighting, but I don't think anybody comes here for the video quality. I am 50% of the way through Her Night with the Duke, and it's giving Bridgerton Season 2. And I'm not just saying that because I'm currently rewatching the show again. This is very similar, so like the hero is now fully engaged to the heroine's stepdaughter, and there's like all this angst. They're like holding hands in a dark tunnel because they're all on a boat, and he tells her like, after the engagement has gone through, she's like upset, and they're like holding pinkies in the dark in the boat, and he's like, I did this for you. She's like, I know. Also, the heroine is an author, and she wrote about her travels, and she wrote this like travel log book that's like really popular, but she's a woman of color, can't know that she's the author, so she hasn't told anybody, but like she's gone to meet her publicist, and he's like, you're a woman, do you need a man to like talk about your finances with, like make deals about your book, because, you know, women don't do that. Not only is she having to fight racism, but she's also having to deal with sexism, and I'm really liking that about this book. Not that she's having to deal with it, but like that representation is there, and that like we're talking about the things that people had to deal with back then. I'm really enjoying it. I wish that the Bridgerton book had actually been like this. I did not like whatever that book is called. I didn't like it at all. I'm gonna update you when I am done, but it's probably gonna be like a 4-star. So this morning I finished A Night with a Duke, or Her Night with a Duke, or whatever this one is, and I did end up giving it 4 stars. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was fun and good and interesting. I do think that there was like one too many conflicts. Obviously, you know that like the heroine's sister and the hero aren't going to end up together, and so once their part of the story wrapped up, I felt like the conflict, there was like one too many conflicts to keep them apart. So other than that, it was trying to be serious, but it like wasn't quite getting there. But like I said, I did like all of the other aspects that are involved in the story, aside from like the romance, the heroine being an author, and all of the interesting things going on with like publishing and stuff like that. And I did like their conflict. I just didn't like that it ended up being 2 conflicts, if that makes sense. And then I am 25-ish% of the way through The Heiress Gets a Duke, or something like that. I am enjoying this so far. So this is about the heroine and her sister who are vacationing in England for like the season. They're just like gonna be in England for the season as like, you know, a fun little time. And then one of the heroine's good friends ends up getting married to a duke, and this like opens her mother's eyes to like the possibility of her family or her daughters being connected to like royalty, English royalty. And so they set the heroine's sister up with the hero, and the hero is he's like the second son, but his brother passed away, and so he has inherited the dukedom, and his family left him like in a lot of debt. And so he is struggling to find a way to keep up his estate, his dukedom, and one way is to marry someone with money. And so he enters into this engagement, or this possible betrothal, with the heroine's sister to kind of, you know, get her money and salvage the dukedom. But him and the heroine actually met, unbeknownst to them, when he was involved in an underground fight thing, in which he was like a boxer, and she was on a podium watching him, and she fell off and fell into the ring, and he like saved her, and then they had like this kiss. And so they see each other again at like the ball that's supposed to introduce him and her sister, to then set up the betrothal, but he's like determined to have her. And I'm really liking this, and I'm a little concerned about where the story goes, because I have looked at Goodreads and like all my friends have given this 3 stars, and I'm concerned because like people that generally I feel like would like this a lot more than me, or like would like this a lot more than a 3-star, have given this 3 stars. So I'm concerned about like where it's gonna go. But at this point I'm really enjoying it. The dynamic of like him wanting her instead of her sister could be interesting. I'm wondering if maybe there's not enough like things keeping them apart, and maybe that's what makes it a little less interesting. I don't know. We'll see as I go, but at the 25% mark, I'm enjoying this. Maybe I went in with lower expectations because I've heard people say that this is not like their favorite, but I'm concerned about where it's gonna go from here. But I will update you guys again when I am 50 to 75% of the way through, and then we will talk. So I finished The Heiress Gets a Duke, and I actually discovered why everybody was giving this 3 stars, and I ended up giving it 2 stars. So about the 30% mark, the like draw of the book was resolved, and he had decided that he wanted her and that he was gonna propose to her. And then the remainder of the book was literally her fighting him. And it was truly an awful experience to read. The heroine was so annoying. There were several times where she was like, yeah, like, I would love to marry him. I can't imagine marrying anybody else. And then she still said no, like, repeatedly over and over and over again. And like the hero was like very open with her the entire time about like how their marriage would go and how he like saw her as an equal, and still the entire time she was like fighting it and saying that she didn't want her rights to be stripped away. And like her main motivation was that if she became a duchess, she wouldn't be able to work at her family's business. But like every single turn in the book, her family was just like continually fucking her over and proving that they didn't really care about her as a person, whether she wanted to get married, and they clearly didn't value her in the business. So like I don't get the motivation behind her saying no. It was like very annoying, and I just could not stand reading from her point of view. The hero was great. He was very like he was very open with her. He like was really into her, and he clearly respected her, and she just like ruined everything. So I gave that 2 stars. I hard skimmed like the last 50 pages. We got like 50% in, and I was like, there's no way there could be anything else. And then we hit like the last 50 pages, and I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, why does this even exist? So I did not like that, but I did end up starting and getting 15% of the way through Love is a Rogue, and I am obsessed with this. This is my first Lenora Bell, and this is about a woman named Beatrice who is a wallflower. The title of the series is actually Wallflower versus Rogues, and the hero is a rogue, and so she has been staying at her ancestral home in the off season. He has been hired by her brother, who is the Duke, to like renovate the house, and so she is like holed up in the library. She's like making her own dictionary. She's very bookish, and she's like really into words, and so she's like working in the library writing her dictionary, and he is outside, and she can hear him like hammering away with his crew and making like rude, dirty jokes, and he's like really getting on her nerves. She overhears him telling his crew like, hey, go ahead, go to the bar, to the pub, there's some things I need to handle. And then he hears him giggling with one of the housemaids, and so she looks over the windowsill, and her glasses fall off and fall on them. And so he like finds, like he picks them up, he climbs up the trellis outside of the window and climbs in the window, and is like, there's this great banter moment between the two of them. She keeps saying like, I don't want to get ninny-headed about this, so she simultaneously doesn't want to be attracted to him, but she is, and so she's stuttering over her words. And then she gets talking about words and language and like her passion, and she's very impassioned about it, and you can just tell like she's very happy to have someone to talk to and listen to her talk about what she is passionate about. And he is just like enamored with her. He thinks that she is so passionate and that he loves that about her, and he like wants to explore her passions in other areas. Again, only 15% of the way through. We have quite a ways to go, but I can tell that I'm really going to enjoy this one, and I hope that it stays like on that trajectory. So I would like to finish this one and one more before the end of the day, but we'll see how that goes. I will update you at the 75% mark, possibly, but probably when I am done. So I ended up finishing Love is a Rogue, and I really, really enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars. This is a very low angst, very cute story. They meet in the beginning of the book, like I told you in the initial clip, and then they end up working together to renovate this like bookstore that she got as an inheritance because someone like left it to her, and then her friends enlist his help to go over the like property, see what the damages are and all that kind of stuff. And then he finds out that the person trying to buy the property from her is going about it in a very shady way, and the person is his grandfather, who kicked his mother out, told her that she would get nothing because she married his father. And so he is determined to not see his grandfather get what he wants. So they end up working together and he fixes up the little shop. It's very, very cute. I really enjoyed it. Again, there's pretty much very little angst in the actual relationship itself. We see a little bit of them bantering back and forth and things like that. And then we have, of course, the class difference debacle at the end is like conflict. But overall, it is a very angst, very cute romance that I just really enjoyed listening to. Put a poll up on my Instagram to like let the people over there pick what I'm reading right now. The Duke Who Didn't is currently winning, but I think for the rest of the night I'm probably going to pick up my physical read, and then we'll come back once I have picked up another historical. I'm physically reading the third book in the Davabad trilogy still. It's taken me a while to get through it. I'm about 50% of the way in. But I think I'm just going to extend out this vlog into next week and just include all of the historicals that I will be reading for the month. We will talk again when you guys have decided what I'm going to be reading. So I am about 15% of the way through The Duke Who Didn't. It's the one that won the Instagram. This is about a woman who is living in this small town in England. She is planning something. I don't know if I just missed the explanation or if it hasn't been explained yet, but there's something called the trials. The hero, she's like making a list for it of things that she needs to do. And the hero was someone that doesn't live in the town, but he shows up for the trials, and he showed up like 3 years in a row, and then he didn't show up for 2 years. And now he's back again. He wants her to help him find a bride that is like her, but he plans to seduce her. So that's the 10%. Both the main characters are Asian. The heroine is Chinese, and we have seen a little bit of her backstory. Her mother died when she was young. Her father raised her by himself, and he moved them all around Europe. Originally, he was an indentured servant, and then he is now in England after this company brought him over for his sauce, and then they cheated him out of his sauce, and they stole it, and now he is trying to make a new sauce and I guess sell it. I'm not quite sure. I don't know what the heroine does or like what her aspirations are, but we will, I guess I'll let you know once I find them out. But yeah, I like it so far. The writing is very, very easy to get into. This is probably a good historical for like new historical romance readers. And I love that, you know, the two main characters are Asian. That's the update on that. This is probably the least cohesive or comprehensible clip that I filmed, but I'm just like, yeah. I'm going to try to finish via the audiobook today at work, and then I'll update you whenever I get out of work with however far I end up making it through. We probably have a pretty busy day today, possibly, so I don't know how much I'm actually going to be able to listen, but we'll talk later. I am 35% of the way through The Duke Who Didn't, and this is so fucking cute. Like, excuse the sound of the airplane going overhead. This, I'm going to talk to you while I peel stickers off of cat things. So I did find out a little bit more about, like, their aspirations and stuff. So the heroine lives with her father, like I said, and he has been creating this sauce, or he created this sauce for this company that kind of stole the sauce from him, and her aspiration is to basically get revenge on this company. And the way that she is going to do this, let's look at this. Look how pretty this food bowl is. Like, I love it. The way that she's going to do this is by selling this sauce at this yearly, kind of like a scavenger hunt that her small town puts on. The reason that she lives in this small town is because they don't have to pay bills where they live. The Duke, who owns the town, has never like asked for rent or anything like that from the people. And the hero is the Duke, but nobody knows that. And when he was a kid, he moved, he's half Chinese, half English. And when he moved to the castle or whatever, like the Duke, whatever they're called, he was training to be a Duke, and he didn't tell anybody in the village who he was because he didn't want them to treat him any differently. Like, he really wanted them to like him, and he wanted to have like a sense of community. So he never told anybody who he was, and they just think that he's like this super rich guy that like shows up every year for their festival. And so he shows up again, and the heroine is trying to make this sauce like the best it can be. She needs to name it, she needs to get it jarred, and they're gonna sell it so that like basically the people that stole the recipe from her dad will be put out of business because his recipe is so much better and everybody just buys her father's recipe. And the hero shows up again, and he, under the guise of having her help him find a bride, he starts seducing her. And the way that he's doing that is like, he's like, you love making lists, so I'm going to have you make a list, and I want my bride to have every quality that you have. And she's purposefully being very obtuse because she doesn't trust him. They had like a thing previously, and he left for no reason, didn't leave her any information on how to contact him, and so she doesn't trust him. And so he keeps saying things like, I want her to have the exact same hair as you, I want her to be as tall as you, I want her to have the exact same qualities. So he's like asking her about her hopes and her aspirations, and he's like, I want my wife to have that. And she's like, we're looking for a wife that will be a good like addition and will, you know, be good with your rich friends. And he's like, I don't want any of that, I want your qualities, like I don't want anything more, I don't want anything less. She's purposefully ignoring what he's, you know, trying to say. They have this very intense emotional conversation where he's like, why are you pretending like you don't understand what I'm saying? And she's like, because I don't trust you and you hurt me really bad. And she starts crying, and he has this moment where he's like, oh shit, like I didn't realize that she likes me or loves me or feels for me as intensely as I feel for her. And that's kind of his moment where he's like, I have to repair this relationship, and I can't just expect her to trust me because I tell her to or I ask her to. I have to show her that there's hope. And so that's kind of where the story is right now. There is this fantastic scene where they go, because I guess like one of the previous years they had a kiss, or they had been about to kiss, and like everybody in the village knows that this happened, and it wasn't like enough to ruin her reputation or anything like that, but like people know that they had this entanglement. And so she is helping him with this list, and she invites him over to dinner, or I think it's dinner or lunch with her father. And okay, someone showed up to my neighbor's house, and I'm not quite brave enough to vlog in front of people yet, but her father basically, like, they're cooking a meal together, and he does not like the hero at all. Like, he does not trust him. He knew that the hero had hurt his daughter, and he's like giving him the evil eye. He like won't acknowledge him, and he keeps like saying these things about him that are like very cutting, not in like a super mean way, but just in like a I don't like you kind of way. And he puts a bunch of really hot spices into his ramen as like a punishment or a test to see if he could withstand it. And it was just so cute. Like, I really am really enjoying this, and it's so fun, and I'm excited to see where it goes. That is the update for you. I'm really liking this. I think it's gonna be a 4-star. This is like probably my most successful vlog that I've done on my channel so far. I've only disliked one book, and the others were like 4 stars. So yeah, I'm gonna update you again when I have finished the book, or I have something to say. Hi friends, I ended up finishing The Duke Who Didn't, and as expected, I gave this 4 stars. It is so freaking cute. I love it so much. If you are looking for a good intro to historical romance, or if you are just looking for a very low angst, cute historical romance. And I think the thing that I love most about it is that the hero doesn't try to change the heroine. So like the goofy boy with the very uptight girl is a very common trope. And usually if the heroine like makes lists and all that kind of stuff, the hero is trying to show her how to live and how to be spontaneous. And then she eventually like realizes she doesn't need the lists. And in this, he very much likes everything about her, and he likes that she makes lists and that she's so organized, and I really like the virgin hero. When she finds out that he's a virgin, she's like, men of your station, she doesn't know he's a duke at this point, they are expected to have mistresses and all that kind of stuff, and he's like, the only woman I've ever wanted is you. And it's just cute. It's cute. And then I got 20% of the way through this one. I can't remember what it's called. And none of my friends have read this, so I really don't know what to expect. In the beginning of the book, the heroine is involved in a carriage accident, and it crashes outside of the inn that the hero is staying at. They knew each other in the past. She was like out for one season, and she was like the belle of the ball, and then he was a new duke, I think. Like, he had previously been like a farmhand, and then he found out that he was a duke, and then he was going to inherit, and so he was like trying to figure out how society goes and like make friends and stuff like that. And he was courting her, had danced together at parties and stuff, and then there was a riot in the street, and he saved her. And he liked how, like, she wasn't scared, she was being very brave, and he could just see that she had like this fiery spirit. So he went to go to her house to like set up a date or something, or whatever they're called, and her father basically said like, you're not good enough for my daughter, and that pissed him off. So the next day at a party, he was really drunk, and he started like talking badly about her. He called her like the paper doll princess or something like that, and it got around that she was nothing, like she was an airhead, and that she was only good for her looks. And so she ends up in the scandal sheets, and it sort of ruins her first season, so she does not like him. And she tells him off in the inn, and he's like, wow, she's really not what I expected, like, she's not the woman that I remember. And so he apologizes to her at the inn, and then, you know, they go their separate ways, and now she is staying in London for the season with her aunt, I guess, and next door to her aunt lives the hero's best friend, and she is there to find a husband because her father basically said, if you don't get married, then you're gonna have to marry the guy that I have set up for you. She doesn't want to marry that guy. She wants someone that lives in London that is willing to like let her take her part of the dowry and just like go live in the country and not bother her. She doesn't really want a marriage because she saw how the marriage between her mother and her father destroyed her father when her mother and brother passed away. So very refreshing to see a heroine that is like, I can never love sort of thing. That's not really something we see all that often with our heroines. So I'm interested to see how it goes. At this point, they haven't like run into each other again, so I'm interested to see what happens, because he had like a very good groveling scene, and he's pretty funny and pretty witty. He's like your stereotypical big broody Scotsman. Other than that, I think today at work I'm going to start the audiobook for the Heiress Hunt. Again, I don't know what this one is about, but we will talk when I have some thoughts on one of those. I apologize for the truly horrendous writing. I'm not turning my light on because this is going to be like a 3-second clip, and I don't feel like doing it. So I'm 30% of the way through Any Rogue Will Do, and I've decided to DNF it. It just is not interesting. Like, there's nothing really for me to grab onto. There's not like very good character development. There's not any interesting personality traits or like desires. So I'm just gonna move on to, I only have 2 books left, the Heiress Hunt and How to Love a Duke in 10 Days. I'm just gonna move on to the How to Love a Duke in 10 Days. And yeah. So I'm not usually one to read like trigger warnings and stuff, just because trigger warnings don't do a lot for me, because I have triggers that I can read sometimes and some that I can't. It just depends on where I'm at. But I have started How to Love a Duke in 10 Days, and this is the opening. So I guess we'll see how this goes. It's Kerrigan Byrne, so I'm sure it's gonna be hard. Me again with no light. I just got through the part of that part is in reference to, as you may know if you've read Kerrigan burn. She always has the epilogue that's like very angsty or traumatic. I didn't realize that I had already read the second book in this until she was like going through the list of all of her friends, because she has like a group of 3 friends that are like the Red Rogues or something like that, and I realized that I had read the second one in the series, All Scott and Bothered, and I did not like it. I gave it 2 stars because the hero was just like not it. I hated the. I'll be interested to see how I like this one, because I think if I don't like this one, then I'm just gonna skip this series and go to another one. I had planned on just listening or reading The Highwayman, I think is what it's called, her most popular one, because like I didn't like All Scott and Bothered at all, but that's her most popular one, or her most like hyped one, so I knew people probably liked it for a reason, so I was just gonna go to that one. But then I saw this in my library and like the hold came up and I grabbed it. So let me stop trying to film these clips with zero lighting. So I got through the prologue. It's between her and her headmaster at her school, and he is raping her, and she slits his throat. And then her friends, and like the groundskeeper, they help her bury him. It's not super descriptive, like you definitely know what's going on, but I am 50% of the way through both of the books that I have left for this video, and wow, are my reactions completely different for both of them. So I'll start with the one that I am currently detesting, and then we'll go to the good one, and we'll wrap up the clip with some good news. I am 50% of the way through the Heiress Hunt, and I don't like it. So this is basically about 2 childhood friends. The heroine is an heiress. It's set in America, and she has always wanted to be a tennis pro, and in the beginning of the book she is engaged to a duke, with the intention of, you know, going back to England and all of that, to use her money to save his dukedom, and she gets a husband and all that kind of stuff. And then her childhood best friend, the hero, comes back to their town. He had been disinherited by his father after he discovered that his father was having sex, and by that I mean his father was forcing himself on one of their maids. He called the police, and his father got away with it and then disinherited him from their family. So he went to Paris, he lived there for a couple years, he had a mistress, all that kind of stuff, and now he is back in town with the intention of ruining his family. His mother calls him back and says, "We're destitute, we need you to marry an heiress to save the family." Meanwhile, he plans to marry the heroine and use his money that he's made by himself to take over the company and ruin his own family. He sees her again, and he tells her, "Hey, I'm looking for an heiress. Will you help me introduce me to all of your friends who are heiresses?" They end up getting seen in a compromising position, and he has the chance to tell them that nothing happened, and it would have saved, well, she thinks it would have saved her relationship with the Duke, and he doesn't. And the entirety of the conversation, in which her life is being ruined and the possibility of her family withstanding a scandal is happening, his thoughts are like, well, I didn't want it to happen this way, but like, yay, at least I get her. I wanted her and I was gonna have her anyways, so like, you know, yay for me. He's thinking about their wedding night and how happy he is, and like, meanwhile, she's very upset. She just betrayed the trust of someone that she cares about, i.e. the Duke, and possibly caused a scandal of her family. And he's just like, la-di-da, yay, this is the best day of my life, like, I'm so excited. He could have potentially made the situation better for her, and he refused to because he wanted to marry her. Her friend comes to her the day of her wedding, and they're talking about the wedding night, and her friend basically says, like, you can't be mad that he didn't try to, like, help the situation, and that he basically took advantage of the situation. Like, he really loves you, just be happy that he did this to you, and, like, he really loves you, so get over it, sort of thing, which really pissed me off, because then she's like, okay, well, I'm still pissed off at him, and then they go into the wedding night, and he basically is just like, I've always been in love with you, and that's enough for her to just completely ignore the fact that she's pissed off, and she just immediately gets over the problem, and it just, I don't like it. Like, I don't think the hero has her best intentions at heart. Almost 70% of the way through, he's just now telling her his intention to what he's going to do to his family, which could also potentially hurt her, and he, like, never planned on telling her. It was just going to happen. And I just don't think that he cares about her the way that he says that he does, the way that, like, a best friend since childhood would. He only cares about getting what he wants, and it's just, I don't like it. And I can already tell that, like, this is not something that's going to change. I've read some reviews of people that generally rate historical romance higher, and the reaction is, like, she loses all agency, which is my biggest pet peeve in romance. So I can already tell that I'm not going to like this one. But let's go on to the one that I am enjoying. I am 50% of the way through How to Love a Duke in 10 Days. And this is about the woman who was raped by her headmaster in the prologue. And now she gets a letter from her friend that's part of, like, the Red Rogues that I was telling you about, that says, I need your help. And it comes with this wedding invitation. So she goes to this small town in England to help her friend, and when she arrives there is, like, this horse that's getting off the train, and it, like, bucks and starts throwing a fit, and so she saves someone's life, and the hero ends up helping her with the horse, and they have, like, a moment together where he calms her down, and then he's like, I'm a stable master at the castle. So they have this moment. She goes back to the castle, and she finds her friend there, and her friend is like, hey, I think that this guy's family, the guy that I'm marrying, his family was involved in the death of my family. So, like, in the beginning of the book, all three of them have their own secrets that they are trying to hide, and one of her friend's secrets is that she's actually someone else, and that she's, like, assumed the identity of this duchess or something to get revenge for the people that killed her family. So she shows up to help her friend, and her friend's like, hey, I think that his family is the one that did it. Can you help me, like, investigate before, like, the wedding happens or whatever? So they make a plan on the night before the wedding, like, the wedding party or whatever, that they are going to investigate his, like, study. And there's, like, a ball happening, and they go upstairs, and he discovers them snooping, and so he pulls her aside, the heroine, and is, like, flirting with her, and basically, like, tries to kiss her, and they had a moment previously after she finds out that he's a duke, and he's like, I'm gonna leave it up to you and your friend, like, I will be waiting at the top of the stairs to announce my bride. I'm gonna say, I want to introduce my bride, and then whoever steps forward is the one that I'm gonna marry, you or your friend. So she ends up being the one that steps forward. Someone is blackmailing her because they know about the murder that her and her friends committed, and they've been blackmailing her for, like, 10 years, and so she's like, I need the money, my family is destitute, and he'll protect me, so, like, this is, like, the best case scenario. You don't want to marry him, you need to go figure out, like, your revenge plot, so, like, let me do this, and then they end up getting married. And we just came to their wedding night. I love the hero and the heroine. The hero is very much, like, he's a scarred hero. He had been in a hunting accident, like, a year or two prior. He was engaged to be married to someone. She found out that he was potentially going to die, so she shacks up with his cousin because she thinks that his cousin is going to inherit, so he ends up living. And so he's, like, this gruff hero, very broody. He's a big guy, very muscly, and nobody like everybody's very scared of him, kind of like the stereotypical like scarred hero where people are afraid to look at him and like they don't like his scars, and the heroine like loves them. There's just so much angst there because he doesn't understand her true intentions, and also on her end she can't really reveal to him why she's doing the things that she's doing, why she doesn't really want to have sex, or she's intimidated by sex and like has all of these rules about how their sexual relationship has to go, and she can't reveal to him like that she was raped and that it ended up with her defending herself and killing someone. There was a point where they get into a fight on their wedding night, and he is like very upset because he found out that she doesn't have a hymen anymore. Prior to this, she had told him like, I've never been with anybody, I've never even been kissed, and he immediately is like, okay, well, are you pregnant? Like, are you trying to scheme? Is this why you were willing to take the wedding, like the marriage, from your friend? Like, like, what's going on here? And then he tells her, like, whenever your period happens, we'll come back and we'll like reconvene. We'll figure out what we're doing because I'm not gonna be trapped. And so of course she's like so full, she feels so much regret because she knows that she hurt him, and also she knows that like she can't tell him what happened, like why she reacted the way that she did, or why she doesn't have a hymen anymore. So like it's just so sad because there was a point where it was going down and like the hero was just like spiraling in his head about how unlovable he is, and like it doesn't matter what he tries to do, everybody just turns against him. And I was like making that face, like the face. So yeah, I'm enjoying it a whole lot. I just want to read it, like I just want to keep reading it. And yeah, I'm hoping that it makes up for the atrocity that is the Heiress Hunt. But I have been talking for way too long. This is probably the most energetic clip in this vlog. So I'm going to get back to reading these last two books. I'll update you when I am done with one of them, or probably both of them.
Perfectly to start directly after after I do. Whatever your plan is not good enough for me.
Hi friends, let's wrap up this exceedingly long reading vlog. So I finished the last two books that I have for this video, and let's talk about it. So I finished 10 Days to Love a Duke, or whatever, and I ended up giving it 5 stars. I really enjoyed this. I think that their relationship is absolutely beautiful. It did lull a little bit in the middle, but altogether I just loved their relationship so much that like it overshadowed that. And then I also finished The Heiress Hunt. I spoke ad nauseum about why I didn't like this book. It didn't get any better. I ended up giving it 2 stars. It really just consisted of them having problems fixing it in the bedroom, or her friends coming and telling her that she had no right to be mad and that she needed to get over herself. So I didn't like it. The hero just like steamrolled the heroine, clearly didn't care about her at all or care about her wants. He would just like buy her shit, and then that was the extent of like his groveling. So I didn't love it. 2 stars. But those are all of the books that I'm going to read for this video. I know it is a very long one. If you have made it to the end, I thank you so much. Leave a castle emoji down in the comments. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I will catch you guys in my next one.